Hail, friends!
Hello.
I am mighty dwarf lord Ulfric Prettybeard, and this is my elf companion
Toot sweets.
Toot Sweets.
Toot sweets.
All right, well there you go. So since we had such a good time playing co-op last week, we figured we would have another crack at that, have some fun. Oh, okay, action starting in right away. I wasn't prepared for this. But yes.
Can I just say,
Oh my. We're in
battle staff for the win.
We're totally in like synchronized murdering right now. Okay, how long
Except
do you
that
have
apparently battle staff wins out.
over axe? I find that hard to believe.
Well, them's elf physics.
Now I know that there was
pal.
I know that there's some kind of like special
I
honkin' attack for when they're low on health. Oh, I forgot I had a crossbow.
Oh, I
Let's-
forgot about that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we all have some kind of range, but there's like normally you can get once you get them up to a combo, you can perform some other button. Oh, there it is.
Oh, that's the Y.
Okay, so we do have some buttons. But let's not advance forward since I didn't realize there was going to be such enemies
Can't you
started away.
loot them? I can't remember.
I think you can, but anyways,
Whilst
Ano-
blocking, press X to push enemies back.
another
Oh, yeah, that's
co-op
right.
game, and this is another game that we are
Oh,
both.
look at my little elf kick.
Wow, because
Hi-ya!
that's going to do a lot of good. Those
Well.
ankles would snap against the freaking wood fence. But anyways, a co-op game that we like equally as much as Halo 3, but is not nearly well known. Not nearly as well known.
This is a fantastic game.
It is a fantastic game. Since we already skipped the intro sequence, this is Lord of the Rings: War in the North. I'm going to call it the spiritual predecessor to Shadows of Mordor. In the sense that it is a fictional narrative with original characters set in the Lord of the Rings universe, as you could most likely tell by just everything on screen.
There's Eridan standing.
Yeah,
into-
there's our
staring
that
into
is
the
our
void.
step-headed red child. We have actually not established who has custody of
I
him.
wish I would
So
just
he just
be-
follows us both around.
Smack him in the back of the head.
But anyways, War in the North is a freaking great game. I forget we got this a long time ago, and I forget
was actually
how
one of
we
the
came
first-
about it. I think this
I-
was
I
like
wanna
one of
say
those,
this
is one of those unique cases I think of like a Christmas gift from someone.
Oh, I just done lit you up, son.
It was like one of those cases of a Christmas gift. Yeah, okay. So once the little yellow thing comes on their head, if you do the special move, it like knocks them the crap out. But this is one of the rare cases of a Christmas gift from like someone said, "Oh, you like Lord of the Rings, therefore here's Lord of the Rings game," and it actually turning out to be good. Because normally when people do that, it doesn't. But this is a great game, very much a brawler kind of hack and slashy, but set in Lord of the Rings, and
It plays a
freaking
little
great.
bit like a pseudo MMO, I would describe.
There's none of the wandering around and the. It's basically if you took all the actual encounters out of an MMO and put them in their own game, you'd have this. So it's definitely hacky slashy brawling fun times, but like you I guess there's a bit of an MMO-iness in that you loot stuff and you can upgrade your equipment and it's there's no run button. I'm gonna have to get used to rolling a lot more. But yeah, definitely this kind of stuff. And then it's lots of fun. I mean the cutscenes are a little. These guys take forever. It's definitely a little campy, when it gets to like the cutscenes and the story stuff, because ostensibly, the plot of this is like this game takes place.
This guy's not done. Okay, I seem to recall that there were people that were like this.
Yeah,
where
there's
they-
definitely heavy duty guys.
No, I was thinking more
Oh,
that
there's a guy right here.
there was a like a lack of them being able to.
And jump cut. Apologies. Had to sort out some kinks. Oh, the joys of attempting to record in a garage. But anyways, what were we talking about? I think
Garage. What are we talking about? This is a custom studio right here.
what we were talking about. That was my
Oh,
final blow.
You
I
stole
got
that.
double the points, so it clearly
You
was mine.
done stole that from me.
They're everywhere. But what we were talking about, I believe, was the plot of the game ostensibly takes place during the same time period as the movies. So, like, there's actually sequences in this where we will meet some of the characters from the movies in, like, passing. And it's kind of almost like a Mario-esque joke where you're almost always one step behind the main troupe from the movies. But it's interesting. You get to see all the fun locations. You get to see some of the minor characters. That it's fun. You get to talk with like Bilbo and Elrond and those guys. This dude, I think I found one of the dudes you were talking about who's just impossible. Because normally a little icon appears that like tells you he's weak to the smashy move. I'm literally just gonna rail him against the wall. Don't take that out of context. Literally, I've been smacking on him for 8 minutes. That was stupid. Anyways, it's a very good game and one of the few, well, it's not few anymore. One of the sort of growing subcategory, I guess, of Lord of the Rings inspired games. Because, of course, the Shadows series, I don't know what they're calling it. Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. Those were the ones that had popularity. But there was a fair few Lord of the Rings games even back in the day. There was, of course, the movie tie-in games, which I only ever saw played at a friend's house, and they seemed like they were the kind of games that would only have seemed good at the time. I think we're going the wrong way.
Well,
did you ever play them?
Graphically, yes, because I did play them.
That's
I
the
actually
wrong way.
really. Oh,
that's where we came from.
I really appreciated.
I trundle like a freaking thing that trundles. Trundle's a hard verb to make an analogy out of.
It's like something that's little and trundles.
Yeah.
So I actually appreciated the second, the Two Towers.
Twin Towers.
Yeah.
That's a different game.
That's a different game entirely.
No. My chest, not yours.
This is the...
Oh, all mine, not you. Oh, you can... Oh, okay. And this was, of course, I think the game... Oh, wrong one. In which you could... I forgot there was leveling up. So I guess you had a point about the MMO-iness. I kind of forgot about it, I guess. I am a dwarf, so I will sink all of my points in strength. Yes. But, and there's... Wow, I really did forget all of this.
Yeah, it's massive MMO.
Okay, like so yeah, you were definitely remembering more of that than I was,
because you build your specific skill tree as far as how you want to do that, which is
how do you confirm? Because what I was attempting to display this is the MMOE part that I remember. Like I just picked up a sword, but this is not the kind of sword. It's the other one.
Oh well, that's sad.
But and you took me out of my menu. Like, I picked up this sword, but I can't use it, so I can give this to our ranger fellow, and he can maybe use it. So, I mean, I don't know that we'll do too much of that on camera, because it's a tad, breaks up the flow a little bit. But, it's a very good game. We had a lot of fun with it. This was definitely sort of an early one we played together. But that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about... Lord of the Rings tie-in games. You're saying they were all right? I never did play them myself.
I enjoyed them. I think that they're
really wish
worth...
I could run faster. What? If you had a PS, I guess 2 or 3 in the mid 2000s, you probably already played them. I got a Dare Ceremonial Dagger. Did they tell you how to do the move I just got?
It probably did. You just skipped it like the brute force you are.
Well, I ain't about no fancy nonsense. I'm just about RT and X. Okay. Striker multiple enemies. Okay.
Oh.
There we go. All right, I see it. Bloom is beautiful. Oh, because we can each collect. Remember how they have the dumb voice lines for things that they can collect? Mine was the whole... We'll get to it. I don't want to spoil it in case we get to it. Oh, I think we might get to it. Oh, that was not the funny one. There's some weak dialogue lines for some of these things. It's definitely a campy game, like we said. Oh, I got a staff.
What I was saying about the Two Towers is it's worth... I think that the plots are good because they do follow very closely, and the playing alongside the characters or having the ability to play the particular characters like Gandalf or whatever is... To me, is definitely interesting. The graphics were horrid.
Well,
especially if you're playing on PS2. Yeah, it was PS2.
And not PS3.
Okay,
did you fall through something? Oh, I think that's the way we have to go. So let me catch up to you.
No. Oh, yes, it is.
Well, yeah, because now you can't get out of there, so presumably it has to be the way we have to go.
This is my little...
So I never played them. The one game I did play that was it was a GameCube originally, although I had it on original Xbox, was the Hobbit tie-in game, which is actually really good for a tie-in game. I played it all the time as a kid. It was like my main thing. That was one of the few games, like Halo 2 for me, that I played like probably 10 times over. I got to the point I made a bet with my cousin once that I could beat it in like 3 hours because I knew it that well. See, we're not gonna. Well, we might get to the funnier lines later, but so definitely worth checking out. In fact, I saw a list a while back that was like, oh, the top 10 best Lord of the Rings tie-in video games, and it was on the list, but it was much lower than it should have been. It deserves a higher place just because it's well, if we spend too much time looking at our random pickups and stuff, we might not sell it as well as it is, but it is definitely a very good game.
Well, you have to definitely have that particular bend.
Yeah, well, and if you're an MMO kind of person,
yeah,
you'll be all about it. I am not gonna go with shield and one-handed. I will go with my massive.
If I could submit that this is what I would say. If you've never been or have been exposed to or had any sort of experience with MMO, this is a great starting place because you don't have to get caught up in all the minutia of character building. But it still gives you the same.
We did spend a bit of time customizing, as you could probably tell from those piercing eyes and that luscious beard.
Look at that butt. That has nothing to do with customization.
Wow.
Just kidding.
But anyways, before we get into any sort of more serious topics, I figured the obvious low-hanging fruit, as it were, as evidenced by the characters we have already chosen, what pray tell is your favorite fantasy race? You ignorant spod.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a
response.
Because
the obvious answer is our fellow hairy dwarf friend here. Because that's just a beard. Odin himself wishes he had this beard. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's no...
Pretty sure you are Odin himself.
Well, yeah, see? It's because I rock. Oh, can't jump off of that. But yeah, What's your preference in the category? How did you get down there?
I enjoy it, well, because I actually use my brain like an elf.
Well, I set you up for that one.
I do think that I like... Here's what I will say. I like elves as a broad classification of fantasy character. I don't specifically ascribe to, like, for instance, the High Elves in Lord of the Rings. They did some pretty mucked up stuff.
Well, everyone in the middle... if you've read the Silmarillion, everyone in Middle-earth's got blood on their hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Except maybe the hobbits, and even then... I suspect Bull Roarer Toot got up to some weird stuff.
Back up.
Yes, but it's definitely very cathartic. Lots of sort of... I mean, very... The combat's fun, and you get into the point later where you get into... It gets more complicated. There's more combos as you unlock abilities, and so it gets pretty dynamic towards the end. And then you can unlock special weapons and armor and stuff. So it gets pretty fun. You get to customize sort of your own, not exactly character because you can't change the characters. These are preset characters, but you can change your play style. I guess would be the right way of looking at it. Whoop whoop whoop! Friends following us. I think we're supposed to... I see a gate over here. I also see you...
Doing work?
Well, I suppose that was one thing you could call it.
This is actually worth noting. Part of the reason that I would say elf, if I'm talking about...
Aerodyn has fallen. That will be the first of many times.
If I'm talking about the actual playing of these types of games. Oh, I'm going to be in trouble here soon.
Oh, well, okay, now I got to save the both of y'all. You talking about how great you are.
I was about
to say... Watch me save y'all.
It is true. It's worth noting
Daddy, what's his name? Daddy Elfman's coming to wipe your little bespoiled butt.
I think I'm going to die.
Well, I'm not. I was talking crap, but I'm not. Problem is that there's no... Darn it. Problem is that there's... I'm used... After having played stuff like Assassin's Creed, I'm like, where's the counter button?
This game is a little... I've
you
appreciated
probably need
it.
to start using shielding a little
Yeah,
more.
I was about to say I appreciated it because of the fact that it didn't just allow you to do the whole mashing.
Well, you
X.
can get away with that for a little while.
Well, yes, but I think in the later parts of the
Norbury gloves.
Yes,
Norbury gloves.
uh,
We probably should avoid too much of this just because this is going to make it seem more boring than it is.
Update certain things just because I'm going to do it swiftly, but I
I'll
do
do it
feel
very
like
swiftly. But anyways, you've been
what
waffling about your preference for give us an answer, man.
Yeah, so
give us agenda.
It's not. I definitely would say elf, but I would say the way that I play in MMOs, especially, I tend to be a buff. I like buffing.
What like an elf?
Well, yeah. I mean, I like those types of characters. I tend to be those that like. I would rather be behind the.
You would rather be keeping your nails dry.
No, I'd rather be keeping my comrades alive. That would be.
I'd rather be wading through the guts of my enemies.
Yeah, exactly. He tends to be a little bit more.
I tend to be doing what I'm doing here, which is
tankish.
walk right up, smack him one, and then spank him like a naughty child.
Whereas I just stand back here and actually do all the
you
work.
can stand back and fire nonsense while I just wreck this guy's whole existence. There's a degree to that. There's a slight degree of like auto correct and aiming. Oh, loot items. What items?
The items that I left for you with all of the work that I was doing.
Like if you press the button within, like I sort of zoom over to people somewhat strangely when I'm within range of them and I press the attack button. Whoop. Oh, that's right. Woo! That's not what I want to do. I don't know how I'm supposed to... The whole shielding thing is going to bother me because there's got to be some way I can block incoming attacks. Or am I just supposed to kill them before it happens? I don't know. So, elf for you, and you just like keeping your
do you not disagree that I think our playstyles are vastly different in that I tend to be
as evidenced by the characters here and pretty much in every other thing we play.
But I genuinely have embraced the kind of buff character
type.
I
think I also forgot.
Or healer, I suppose you could call it if you wanted to call it that.
Okay, yeah, there are health potions.
Because I think I've mastered that type of gameplay because it also requires that you play a weaker character, which I'll admit readily.
Does.
But it's enjoyable because you also tend to have the most kind of the kind of changing of odds as far as the battles go.
Well, I would wager a good character in any class has that capacity.
Oh, sure.
Maybe we unlock the ability to counter, because that's something I'm going to sorely miss if we don't come up with it.
Oh,
again.
my. Okay.
Look at me hopping around the battlefield like freaking John Woo. But anyways, thanks for your... Oh, well, I need help.
I need
aid. I can hobble over to you. Ah! Well, no, you can't. You got to take care of yourself first. You got to... Well, okay. I didn't think you could even do that. I thought they would... Well, I'll pay you back once they're dead.
I did actually appreciate... Oh, Eridan actually is showing up this time for once in his life.
I'll defend him while he protects you. Where are they at? Ooh,
I did actually enjoy that part of the game in this because I recall us actually like making the distinction or making the real-time decision. Like, this is one of those times where I'm about to die, but it's worth saving you first so that I can then be saved by you later.
Well, sort of.
Versus... Because that actually kept us alive in various parts of the game in significant portions.
It will for the rest of the game as well. But anyways,
Cleaved.
So, thank you for... Oh, critical sever! Yeah! I don't actually know where we're supposed to go and whether or not these guys are going to stop spawning until we get there, but... so that was sort of the more fluffy topic, but of course this only will invite the... Oh, our son has fallen. Go help him out. This game can only invite the inevitable discussion of the Lord of the Rings series as a whole, given that we are two massive Lord of the Rings fans. If you couldn't
I would argue
tell.
slightly,
Oh dear.
Slightly more in my camp initially, maybe.
Here's the thing.
In the
you
same
definitely
way
are more into the books than I am, but I would say I probably am more into the movies than you are. I mean, just
I don't know
because
what that says, though. I mean...
Well, it says that I like good storytelling and great acting and cinematography. Is what it says.
I think the movies were
classic
I think the
Well,
movies
books.
were well done, and
Well, the
I'd
movies
just
are
like to point
brilliantly
out that
done.
I've already leveled up. So there you go.
Well, I've leveled up. Yeah, I got 2.
Yeah,
and I
I'm
already
at 3.
Okay, and I leveled up earlier than you did earlier, so don't go acting like you've got something to prove. Well, and you're missing all this stuff. I'm just gonna take yours. Oh, these are bolts. These aren't. I thought. Oh, some of them are coins. Well, so definitely, I'd say you're more into the books. I'm definitely more into the movies. I read.
Well, I was gonna say in the same way that I would say you probably are the more not expertise isn't the right word. You are the more
I know more about the background of
as far
the
as
movies.
Star Wars, and I tend to be
sure.
more in the
going
in the
with this?
camp of.
Oh, okay. So this gate did open once the guys were dead.
I'm gonna go up here because I recall there being a good vantage point for. Well, see, that's
no,
stupid.
there's
I
no
can't-
vantage point because there's no one to attack.
Yeah, I was thinking that there was an ability to jump. For some reason, I had it in my head that at one point we could. But,
This isn't. Well, I don't think there's an ability to jump in any MMOs, are there? That's
I
almost
guess.
characteristic.
Lord of the Rings
anyways,
Online. There you go.
So what were you bringing about? Oh yeah, that was another tie-in game. That you were more into that than I was because
Yeah.
I'm not big into MMOs, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, see,
This
I
is as close as I would get because it takes all the fun parts of an MMO and makes a game out of it.
It does. It's
And-
true.
Okay, gotta get up here. We're waiting for you, dude. There's nowhere I can't go anywhere up here. We got one of these. What? There's a creature making cries. Apparently, we have the sound turned down so we can't tell. Oh, I got something you could probably wear.
Sound turned down in a bottle.
So, why were you bringing up Star Wars? What was that meant to?
I was just
serve?
saying, in the same way that you tend to be more into the actual kind of background lore of that, I would say that's kind of the difference in our approaches with Lord of the Rings as well, where I tend to be a little bit more.
Well, I know a fair bit about the lore, but I probably because I mean we've read. Well, no, I was about to say we've read the same stuff, but that's not true. You've read more than I have.
In
I mean, I've read
terms.
the bare minimum of the Lord of the Rings. Here's your Lord of the Rings fandom checklist.
I don't know that
I've read obviously the Hobbit, the 3 trilogy books, and the Silmarillion.
Well, but see, the Silmarillion, some would argue, is definitely more in the nerd camp because.
it's very hardcore in the nerd camp.
What I'm saying is, I would say that I don't know that people would classify that as required reading in order to be proven an expert on the topic.
If you go to the Lord of the Rings subreddit, they certainly would.
Well, that's because that's the Lord of the Rings subreddit.
Well, true, but I think there's a. Oh man, I don't remember. I mean, I remember this being hard, but not quite this hard. I think it's because we did the new game plus that one time and had all our stuff, and now we're starting at the true beginning. Thank you. There are indeed. Thank you. I've completely lost what we were on about. You were talking about Star Wars, which threw me off. Oh, so yeah, I've read the books, but it took me a long time. Like I would have called myself a huge Lord of the Rings fan back in when I was a middle schooler because I just had seen the movies. And it was only recently that I was like, well, you know what? I probably should, before anyone calls me out on it, I should probably read the books. And I'll admit, they're not my favorite books.
Just be over here actually completing the.
Well, yeah, you can only do that because I'm keeping people from crawling up your jacksie.
Again, tank.
Well, yeah, I'm drawing aggro. But yes, I read them not all that long ago, probably about 3 years ago now, when I was like, before anyone comes to confiscate my Lord of the Rings fan card, I should read these. But yeah, they're not my favorite books in terms of fantasy.
What didn't you? I'm curious what you actually did not enjoy about.
Well,
them.
I wouldn't. Here's the thing. I say that with the qualifier. It's not that I didn't enjoy them. It's just that they aren't my favorite books. They're definitely great books, but they just aren't my top books. Which is saying, I mean, I'm a little bit, because I have a fairly extensive library at this point. Like my top books is a pretty prestigious. Oh, darn it! I need a white mommy. Here, I'll show you. There you go.
Wow. Eridan comes to stand over next to us like he did something at all.
Oh, he needs to feel like he's involved. So you don't want to ostracize your redheaded stepchild. So yeah, they're just not my favorites. They're definitely like in my B tier list of books.
Ooh,
they're great
that's
books.
strong.
Well, as opposed to A tier.
Well, I'm just saying that's like that. I mean, it's one thing to say they're not necessarily my favorite, but to
Well,
put them in
favorite
B
to me.
tier,
Well, favorite to me is A tier, and there's only like all of 10 books in that list for me.
which all of them are probably classics. I'm assuming.
No.
I need help.
No, they're not all class. Well, okay,
Hang on.
you
let
didn't
me-
pick a
let me
great
get-
time.
let me
That
get
was the wrong one.
over. Oh, we're both dying.
Eridan!
Eridan, it's all you, bud.
Oh no way!
Get it done. Yay!
What? Did he seriously?
Yeah.
Well, I take it back, son.
Here,
You're only
here.
partially redheaded.
Did he actually get it done for you too?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I think we forfeited our right to make fun of Eridan now.
No, he every now and
Well,
then,
he'll give us more reasons
on a
later,
rare
no doubt.
level, he pulls that out.
I don't remember. Oh, who's that? Oh no, there we go. I'll pay him back for what he did for me. Oh, not before I get him. Come on now, get out of here. All right, I'm wiping our son's butt. Oh, are you wiping
I
the
just
son's
died.
butt? Well, now I gotta
tried.
wipe both of y'all's butts. Still not ready.
It's gonna be better to wipe our butts.
Well, okay. Butt wipe.
Hey, butt wipe.
Butt wipery commencing. You're gonna have to
Yay.
wipe his butt though, because I couldn't make it in time. Oh, did you get him?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh, because you got that like instant ability, don't you?
Yes.
Ah,
Again,
see, that's
buffing.
the problem. That's the problem. I don't
but see,
have
that-
such an ability.
that's what
you
I'm
are
saying.
the worst. This little guy over here sniping at us is what's causing us so much trouble.
That is what I mean by weaker character, but it tends to be also the significant
when you say oh it can make the difference. As I said, any class can do that, but you probably the healer can sometimes make the most sudden difference.
Yes.
Where it's like, all is lost and then a sudden turnaround.
You have a face only a mother would love.
Well, of course. And here's our friend Hairy Pants. Remember? Look at them jazz pants he's wearing on.
I'm pretty sure those are hammer pants.
His feathered slacks. Are we gonna skip cutscenes? We probably should for the sake of. Although, will it let us? You could just skip.
Oh, we have to do the dialogue.
Right, yeah, because whoever is technically starting the conversation has to do the dialogue.
So this is something.
Well, you can just skip it and
Yeah.
just make an arbitrary dialogue
I
choice.
don't
Not
know
like it's
that-
going to make a difference.
I don't know that you guys would appreciate this as much as we did, but if you are playing through
Well,
this game,
if you have a sense of humor,
you'll
be able to laugh.
It is hilarious to be able to kind of loop people through the similar. Eventually, you can actually start getting people a little annoyed with you because you're asking the same questions repeatedly.
My eyes are blue as the sea. I'm sorry, that's all I can focus on when the cutscenes are happening.
Oh, you got problems.
Now, one
Bun
thing-
cake.
That's just the best. I might keep that. What I wanted was to get to my potions. Now it's making me level up. Increases range damage of your sweeping attack, Earthshaker, and Whirlwind. I have strike a single melee target for high damage. That sounds like it'll be fun. That sounds like dwarfishness.
Chance each time a skill is cast.
Now, can I get to my actual potions, please?
Cooldown upgrade.
There you go.
that
Is there
will
a
tempt us?
way we could get like a quick command to use these? I think there was, but I forget what it is. But anyways, so you're definitely more in the books. I read them. They're all right. They're great books. All right's too low. I would say they're good books. This is what I'll say. I liked the second and third books more. I think, conversely, actually, to my opinion on the movies, the first book it takes a long time to get started.
Yes.
Whereas the same could sort of be said of the movie, but I actually somewhat controversially think the first one's my favorite, just because I love it does such a good job at the setup of like the world building and the character building. I just think it's the most engaging, so I love it for that reason. But the book, kind of the opposite. It takes a little while to get started. So yeah, that's where we differ. But the one area, I figured we could finally, since we could finally get to this topic that we've had off mic several times. The one area we agree is in Theoden being the best character ever.
Oh, easily. I would say
We're not going to probably buy and sell stuff. That's too... We need to keep the pace going.
it's worth... even in the actual Tolkien narratives on a literary level,
Whoa,
I feel like that's
oh,
true.
total damage received. I thought that was damage output, and I was going to be like, whoa, Eridan put us to shame, but no. Number of co-op strikes. Oh, well, of course. Who's Eridan going to co-op with? His missing chromosomes? And now we've been demonetized. What were you saying about Theoden, though?
I would say even because like in the one problem I did have with the movies is they made Aragorn. Well, this was actually an improvement, I would argue.
Okay, you started saying problem.
But they made Aragorn far more heroic,
start,
I suppose. And
scenes.
for those that have actually read the books, you know what I'm talking about. In the books, Aragorn is a little bit of a... He draws attention to himself a lot.
Well, he certainly plays the king card more than he does in the movies.
And it's very awkward and kind of just... It's forced. Whereas I feel like it's far more organic in the movies.
I feel on a similar level, there's a very similar thing happens to Theoden in the books, which is one of the reasons I didn't love them quite as much. What do you... Okay, you can't use the thing I'm attempting to stand on right now. In the books, like the famous scene in book 2, when they actually meet Theoden and he's like, his mind's corrupted and all that. The whole scene with Gandalf in the movies is great because it's like, you get to see Gandalf's new power as Gandalf the White. You get to see Theoden's sort of retransformation, and it's a very humanizing moment for him.
Right.
Whereas in the books, he's a little like he gets over it kind of quickly. Like Gandalf cures him, drives out Saruman's like voice or whatever it is, and then he's just like, "Oh, thanks for that. I'll do whatever you tell me now."
Yeah, which is...
Whereas in the movies, he's like, he has reason to be suspicious of wizards, considering that he was just possessed by one for like weeks. So I appreciated that, and it's just when we said humanizing element, that's definitely the thing all over with Theoden. Is he's the most... Oh, I need to wipe again. He is the most human of the characters, in my opinion, because he shows... The one way I've often described it is that he often shows the effect that the world is would have on an average person. And I mean, yes, you could argue, oh, he's a king, he's not an average person. True. But, like, everyone else in the plot is either the son of, generations of kings or elves or wizards, or the closest you get is the hobbits, but even then, it's like they're a sort of mythically near-perfect childlike race, so they don't really react to stuff the way you would. And then it's like, and you're also talking about, the ring bearer. That's not exactly an average person's responsibility. So and maybe some of it's the way Frodo's portrayed. Because there's a degree, of course, to which you see, like, the corrupting effect of the ring and all that. But, I don't know. It doesn't have the same weight to me as Theoden's scenes do. Because it just shows this is what it would be like to have to try and make these very difficult decisions in a world where this kind of stuff happens. And he shows that. He doesn't just do the right thing because it's the right thing. He struggles.
If I could posit that this is actually something that in the books as well worth noting is that whereas all the other characters or most of the other characters in the particular narrative are wrapped up in what this kind of journey has done.
Yeah, they're all kind of like chosen ones.
Right. Each one, prospectively, has kind of just dropped their entire life and has said, well, this is what we're doing now. Whereas I feel like Theoden is like shoved into it, and yet he still has to carry on with his actual normal life as well.
Well, yeah, it's like because it's like that's his job is to protect his people. Everyone else basically abandoned their jobs to do a holy quest almost.
Right.
Whereas he's like, no, I just have to do my job is to protect these people. And whatever you did, was that meant to help me? Because it didn't.
Okay, well.
Well, we're relying on our friend.
Oh, he's there.
Well, dude, I think...
Shut my mouth.
I think he deserves...
He deserves better.
He deserves better than we give him now that I'm realizing. Okay, I'm trying to help you, but I can't. I'm literally about to die again because of it, so... okay.
Just commit.
If he manages to get you again, he deserves a whole lot better than we've been giving him. That didn't work. You got interrupted. It's these guys with the bows. You're the ranged person. Take care of these guys shooting magic at us. They're the ones wrecking us up. There you go. Brutal hit. That's what we wanted. There you are. We got to get more into the combos. I think we're getting a little mashy, but then again, we are attempting to talk. It's not as easy as it looks.
No, what I was saying
Not
was
that it looks easy,
so
'cause-
everybody else is. I think it's very much a typecast of like we are the chosen few.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a singular character, it still is like I've been particularly set apart for this. Whereas Theoden's just like, well, I gotta just do the best I can.
That's why one of my favorite scenes and lines of his is, such that these evil days should be mine. It's like it's a great. It's just he's got such depth and he's so
well. Part of that's really a credit to the actor.
Very true. And Bernard Hill, I believe, is his name. He's sort of an older guard. He's not done much lately or much since those movies, but like he was sort of a big name in his day. So definitely he's got the chops. But he's just such a great and underappreciated character because he's got the depth and even when he's doing the right thing, you can see the toll that it takes on him.
Peter Jackson did an excellent job though in the directing of some of those larger. I think it's easy to get caught up in the minutia of action in those sequences.
Well, there's the action and the I mean there's action and then there's like, not to say that it was purely just action and then dialogue scenes, but there's definitely a reason that they're separate and they're treated differently.
Sure, I'm just saying he did a fantastic job at blending, or not blending, but rather
what is he wearing?
Like connecting the two without making it feel not disconnected. That doesn't prove my. It's
not like an Elder Scrolls game where it's like once you enter dialogue, the camera changes and it's literally just two people staring at each other reciting,
exactly,
and then you go back to the action. There's interplay definitely, but it's not. I mean, of course, there's like definite battle sequences which are separate. That little exposition.
I mean, those still need their place. I'm just saying, especially like my favorite scene. Oddly enough, is
that's more selling stuff.
When he is, he's having his final moments on the battlefield or whatever and dying.
Spoiler alert for a 20-year-old movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry for you, but welcome to the channel. But
gotta level up again.
I think it was the way they framed the shot was great. The way the actor delivered the lines was fantastic because it's not overacted, which I love.
Where are you going?
I'm trying to.
We're over here.
Well, I was over there earlier, and then y'all just kind of.
That's where we came from. And this is the selling menu. We don't want to buy and sell stuff because that's just going to disrupt.
The stairs
that's where we came from. This is where we go. Cotton Eye Joe.
What I was talking about.
I don't know. You were talking about the
what,
movies and why they're great.
Anyway.
Well, he certainly did a near impossible task at adapting a work that literally everyone said couldn't be adapted to film. Tolkien himself said it couldn't be adapted to film. And admittedly, Christopher Tolkien's talked about, like, he's even said, as much as I think the films do a great job, I don't know that my dad would have liked them. Just because he kind of acknowledged that Tolkien himself was a fairly particular person. So he's like,
sure. You have to be.
So it's kind of like, I'm not sure he would have. Because, of course, he no doubt had in his mind exactly what everything looked like. So even though the films are well done, he would have been like, that's not what it's supposed to look like. But then again, only he would know that. So, it's a bit of a unique thing. But it's not news, but Christopher Tolkien's death, wasn't that like a year or two ago now? It was not that long ago. I remember
it was fairly recent.
Sad day, that. Not that it's been a while past now, but still,
it was
a sad thing.
I was going a slightly different direction. I was actually going to ask you
that was all I was going to
say. With and by comparison, as far as literary context, because obviously we've talked about the fact that you just recently kind of touched base with the books, because obviously you'd had an appreciation.
Again, recently, about 2 or 3 years ago.
Sure. But I mean, so by comparison to like somebody like C.S. Lewis, are you more of a Lewis man or
no? Not. I love Lewis, but for his nonfiction. Lewis is great for his
and you and I both
philosophy
agree
and theology and stuff. But I'm, I don't know. Well, perhaps I speak a little bit from ignorance. I have not read all of the Chronicles of Narnia. I think I read the first 3 because I had to for school. Then I don't think I've read anything else he's done. I'm curious about his like sci-fi space trilogy.
If you're curious about the
watching.
nonfiction C.S. Lewis, start with Mere Christianity.
Oh, well, yes, of course. But I mean, really, just pick a subject you're interested in and see if he's written about it. Because if he has, you'll like it.
Well, he's a fantastic communicator.
That's definitely.
I don't know that his creative prowess was up to snuff with Tolkien.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
I mean, that's a really harsh criticism.
I'm hesitant to say that just because I have read so little of it, but I'm not gonna argue with you about it either.
I mean that's a fairly bold claim. I'm not suggesting that his. I mean, clearly other people like his work. That's
not to say he's bad.
No, I just think like I would never obviously have been able to create anything close to what he's done. But I'm just saying it by comparison. It seems like that was not his forte.
Weapons. I seem to remember this one being awful the first time
this
I played
one
it.
Was. If I recall, it was more because we have to focus on getting him taken care of first.
Yeah.
So let's almost kind of just. I'm gonna just blast a little bit.
Let me get up to
uncharacteristically
well,
here.
Let me get up to him because I'm the one who's actually going to do well at that. If you could, I guess I'll just keep these guys off of you then. We'll play slightly reversed. Well, I guess I'm still drawing aggro. I'm just drawing the lesser aggro. Oh, okay. I was standing by an explosive barrel. I didn't know that. Help!
Oh, are you? Oh.
Yeah, I was. They got me with an explosive barrel. I was literally standing right on it. So Aerodan's helping, but he might die. Nope, he's dead.
Okay.
You've got to help us, Elf
he
Maiden.
Said something that I'm having to dodge all kinds
help.
of.
Pale bunt cake is dying. Do you not have the instant ability? What happened to your instant healing?
No, I don't have that yet.
Oh, I thought you'd even used it. Well, never
Had
mind. I thought, well, you healed me once very quickly, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention. So yes, the Lord of the Rings movies. Are we in agreement that they are our mutual favorites? Because I would definitely say they're my top 3 movies. It's just all 3 of them.
Well, if it tells you anything, I've obviously have all of the extended editions.
Well, how brilliant you are at the segue, my friend, because the obvious segue then is what to do with The Hobbit.
I was the
steaming horse pile we were left with.
It's not even a red-headed stepchild.
And I don't want to be rude because what in the name? Okay, so I wasn't standing next to an explosive barrel. That thing is just explosive arrows.
Okay, I just died.
Well, okay,
so now
he might heal me. He might heal me. Okay, I can't get you. Hopefully he's gonna have to, but I've got to get to this dude because he's racking us up. But I like Peter Jackson. I don't want to give him the blame because, in fairness, if you've actually heard anything about what happened to those movies, I don't think it was his fault. As a matter of fact, it seems very much like it wasn't. It seemed very much like a studio problem. All right, the turret's down for now, so you should be all right.
Yes, that's a fair criticism.
Because initially he didn't even want to direct it. He was supposed to be a producer and a writer, and it was supposed to be Guillermo del Toro, who I've not seen much of his stuff, admittedly. I've seen Hellboy 1, which I thought was fun, but I don't know. I've not seen enough of his stuff. I know he's definitely in the kind of weird fantasy vibe, very much similar to the kind of stuff Peter Jackson used to do before he did Lord of the Rings. So I think he could have done it, but evidently there was some studio issue. He left. Jackson sort of reluctantly filled the role, and then it's a lot of studio. It seemed just like a lot of studio demands that ended up like they were the ones, very clearly, apparently, it came out that they were the ones who forced the whole dumb elf romance plot.
Which that's not surprising to anyone.
So it's like that blame the studio, apparently, is the answer to that, because I don't think it's Peter Jackson's fault. And the reason I get so annoyed by it is just because of how great it could have been. Like, the casting's great. Martin Freeman is brilliant as Bilbo. Honestly, he's the best there could have been. And even, obviously the returning actors are great, but then, like, Lee Pace as Thranduil is great. Like, he definitely sells the very aloof elf king. Like, he's just brilliant as that. Benedict Cumberbatch, as much as you don't think about it being Benedict Cumberbatch, the fact that you don't think about it being Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug clearly sells the fact that he did a good job at it.
Yeah, he did.
It's just everything about it could have been great. It's just It wasn't. Are you? Oh, that was him who died. So it was the sad deal. And honestly, I remember when we saw 1 in theaters, and we had been very excited about it. And I remember even looking back on it, I remember coming out of the theater going, being underwhelmed, and I don't think I was enough of a film... Oh, well, we're all dead. I don't think I was enough of a film appreciator at the time to really sort of analyze my opinion.
Yeah.
I remember thinking I was kind of underwhelmed by it, but then as I watched it, more times after that, I was like, yeah, I got into it. I got into the fun of it. I'm going to level up before we go into this.
Oh, yeah, I probably should.
Because that's probably one of the reasons. Is stamina health?
I believe so.
So I'm going to crank that right now because we need some.
Actually, I'm going to take
Warcry damage bonus. I forget what the Warcry does. I think that's more like a passive buff. Temporary increased armor health.
More,
it is armor and health though. I need that. Plus, I want to. Now I've set my baseline so I can increase other stuff as we go.
What?
I also keep forgetting that we have health potions, and I swear one of these. Oh! I'm not going to do it now, but I think it's the D-pad. I think one of the 2 side by side D-pads are the potions. I forget which is which, but that way you don't have to pause and get health because. I know we have health potions, which we don't use them.
Oh, there it is. I remember this one. That's actually going to be helpful.
Power up your range attack.
No, this one right here.
Remember? Oh, yes. That one's great. We were talking about The Hobbit. So the first one was all right. It didn't have the sickness that the rest of them developed.
See, here's my problem with the first one. It gave me unfair expectations because I loved the first one, and then it was like...
Sure.
And then it just was horrible after that.
Well, to me, they got progressively worse. Like 2... They introduced the whole stupid elf romance, which was unnecessary.
A disappointment.
And then the final sequence with Smaug is pretty weird. Like, part of that's just the placement in it, where it's like we know it comes at the end, but we all know what happens, and he gets away at the end, so it sort of feels that thing is just murder.
All right, here, ready?
Well, you're not gonna help me. I'm going up towards him. I'm just charging the guy. So to me, they got progressively worse. 2 wasn't the nail in the coffin. It started to show the symptoms, and then it was, 3 was that was one of the few times I have left a movie from the theater going that was sucked. Like normally, if a movie's not great, I kind of have to think about it. I didn't manage to get the turret guy down it. Sorry. So, yeah, help me.
I can't.
No, I couldn't. I thought I got him, but he just fell over, and then someone shot me. So,
for some reason, I'm struggling to throw out my little orb.
Well,
I have full power, so
I'm going to take this guy out now.
How are you pulling that up? Is that
what? It's the opposite of the pause menu.
No, I'm saying like the visual to show you which buttons are which.
I'm not. I'm not sure what you're asking me about.
Pale bunt cake, okay.
Oh, I don't think. Oh, see, I forgot that there is a time limit. I thought I could clear the enemies before I could.
You have failed.
Well, yeah, because I didn't realize I forgot that there was a time limit.
I forgot it said.
So that. Yeah, one was good. Even I'd still say it was good.
Oh, your staminas and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. And then no, I don't need no willpower. What I need is health. 2 started to show the symptoms. And then 3 is when it died of said symptoms, because it's just really clear that they didn't have much of a plot, and so they just shoved in a bunch of battles. They had to resolve the love story that didn't go anywhere, and so it just feels really we might as well do that. It feels really useless. Ooh, there you go. That's much better. So it's just it has its issues, and I'm sad about it because. I want to like them, and the fact that they exist is now we have to contend with that. Like, we have to acknowledge that they exist, despite the fact that I wish they didn't. And it's a sad day. And I mean, we have that written on the topic list as unpopular opinion, but I don't think that is an unpopular opinion. I think that's a pretty standard opinion. As a matter of fact, if you're at all curious in like developing some film critique, as it were. If you were like I was and you sort of were like, I'm not much of a film buff person, then I would highly recommend actually 2 channels. There's Lindsay Ellis, who's a fairly well-known film review channel. She's been around a while. And she has a great, like, pretty exhaustive series of why the Hobbit movies weren't great, and she covers basically everything we have in much more detail, like studio troubles and the various plot issues. Another channel that does a similar thing is called Just Right.
There it is. Get in here.
There you go. There you go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm not in there. I'm not in there. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Here it is. Will that stop the arrows, though?
It
it
stops
does.
the arrows, yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, great. We can bring him in here and then do our swipey attacks. Okay, this was a... Yeah, there we go. This was a smart idea. I wish it was more visible, though, because I can't tell when I've left it or not. All right. How long does it last?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is...
Can we shoot out of it?
I can shoot through it, yeah.
Oh, I can, too. Great. Great, great, great. So the channel Just Right is another one. It's a similar thing. It's film reviews, writing kind of advice. I think that was the sign that it ends, right? Oh, I forgot you could do that too. You could summon your pants friend. Oh, yeah. Try one of your... Oh, you can't. Next time you get low on health, try one of your D-pad buttons, because I think one of them is a quick key for... Potion. I don't know which one, so you'll have to just trial and error it. See, this is what's stupid. Takes me 8 years. Okay, I gotta take out this fool. Is Aradan dead?
I believe
okay,
so.
okay. Well, then I'm gonna have to get to you guys first. But I'm being swarmed. Well, I had hoped that we might prove ourselves after the Halo video and do a little bit better, but seems we just suck when we're trying to talk. But yes, anyways, if you're at all interested in sort of film critique and you feel similarly about the Hobbit movies, then those are channels to check out, because they're definitely... They go into it in a lot of more detail than we could in our time, and probably more savvily, if I can coin a adverb. But yes. Well, so, like we did with the Halo, and we moved on from the Halo series into broader sci-fi, this was an opportunity to broaden ourselves into fantasy. Which, admittedly, I'm going to be in a similar position as I was with the Halo video, because... my sci-fi shelves do the same thing, though. That was a great idea.
Hang on.
Oh, did you not level up?
Oh, no, I didn't.
We didn't, so you can't
Darn
do
it.
Darn it, we'll have to just try and survive. My fantasy shelf is only slightly more developed than my my sci-fi shelf. I'm going to have to just go for this dude, because he sucks.
What's the question? I'm confused.
You're similar to your broader opinions on sci-fi that we did for the Halo video. What are your broader opinions on...
Fantasy?
The fantasy genre. Darn it, I was so close to smacking him one. Get over to me, I need your help more than he does. Because
oh my, okay.
If you can avoid the bombardment. You're not avoiding the bombardment! You have to come towards me!
Where are you?
I'm right by the dude! I was just about to kill him. Aradan's more help than you. You should think about that statement. This fool's gotta go. Thank you, Aradan. I'm giving my toys to him next time. So do you have any opinions on fantasy? I'm probably slightly more experienced in fantasy than in sci-fi, but only slightly.
Partially because of your books, I think, as a primary catalyst for that. Because I would say the only...
Well, let's start with books. We can do other things as well.
The only opinion that I have regarding broader fantasy is that I'm not a huge fan of anything dragon-ish.
Well, that's a bit of a strange qualifier, because Lord of the Rings has dragons, so clearly the dragons aren't the problem.
No, it's there's the whole... What's that series that's like... It's fairly prolific.
Game of Thrones?
No.
I was about to say, if you couldn't find Game of Thrones, you're going to get ripped for your cultural...
That's an obvious one. No, it's
Aragon and stuff?
Yeah,
I don't know the name of the series,
not
but
a fan.
I thought you could destroy these towers, because there's guys up there who are being annoying. I never read them, and I heard the movie was garbage, so I can't speak to that. Fantasy, obviously we've both read Lord of the Rings. You would probably would you rate that as your favorite fantasy series?
Oh yeah, hands down. Because I would say because beyond just favorite fantasy series, I think that Lord of the Rings is really my favorite book series of all time.
Ooh, well see there, I definitely wouldn't go there.
What would hold that place for
favorite
you?
book series? Well, this is a question we actually had as more of just a loose question in general, because I think there's a difference between favorite book and favorite series. And honestly, I'm not sure what my favorite series is. This is not the time, dude! I'm dying out here!
Well, I was trying.
You just left the battle? The battle wasn't over! come wipe me. You deserve... I'm not... No, don't let him do your dirty work. You deserve to heal me for that, because that was your fault. Whoa. Ah, my controller! Is that gonna pop? I don't know if that popped up on the screen or not.
It's not letting me.
Darn it. Now I'm getting... So these are the guys with the heavy armor that need more of a...
I was walking in the air like
that's,
some
there
sort
you
of
go. So
cake.
that helps. I don't honestly know, and I'm not... I would have to spend some time thinking about that. But in terms of broader, or more specifically the fantasy genre, again, it's a little hard. I actually am not... I've read... this is a difficult one because I read it a long time ago, and I honestly can't comment on whether or not it holds up because it's definitely a young adult book series. But it was the Barenfell Prophecies, which are not very well known. But it was sort of a young adult series, and I read it when I was in like early high school, and I have fond memories of it. Because I think they're good. I don't want to qualify that simply because they're young adult that they have to be bad. I mean, although that is there's definitely some of that. But I think they're all right, and at least, and definitely they have a space for me because they were one of the first book series I read willingly on the recommendation of a friend and actually enjoyed. Like, it was the first time that I read books and was like, oh, books can actually be nice. It's not just the reading they make you do in school. Do we have to use this for something? Is there a reason I need this? Oh. Or is this just for this? Ooh, okay, well, it does work, though. So those are great, I think. I mean, as I said, it's been years since I read them, and they were young adult books, so maybe I would think a little less of them now. But those are high on my list, I know. I mean, I still like the Lord of the Rings. They would be high, too. And honestly, trouble is, when it comes to books, I'm still not as well read in terms of fantasy. I'm trying to think of what my fantasy shelf's got on it. Because some of them are just like random books I've picked up from various, and a lot of them are books I haven't read yet. Now that I'm thinking about it, the shelf might be bigger, but I'm not sure I've read any more of them. Where are you? You're just not helping out, and you're leaving me alone with Eridham. And you're also not helping me with this conversation much, because I don't know what to say about my books. I'm realizing my ignorance as I speak more and more. So...
Well,
it's got to be, I guess, Lord of the Rings or the Barenfell Prophecies for me, because they're the only ones I can draw to memory.
I don't think it's ignorance. I think you have such broad categorical...
Well, the trouble is I'm picturing in my head my bookshelves that have, like, the fantasy section, and I know there's lots of books on it. I'm just not confident I've actually read enough of them. Like, I've probably read the same amount from both shelves as sci-fi and fantasy, although my fantasy is still bigger. But the Barenfell Prophecies are good. It's just been a while since I've read them, so maybe they're more young adulty than I remember. Where do we have to go?
What? Something's happened to my... Oh.
I don't know where we're trying to get, because we seem to be stuck. But anyways, you have any fantasy books that you like?
I'm trying... See, fantasy is hard because, like, okay, one of my favorite books of all time is technically a I would say historical fiction, which is Robert the Bruce. Brilliant book.
Is it actually fiction, or is it just like a biographical
It's
account?
not, though, because they take I mean, it's definitely like they there's all sorts of battles that probably didn't really happen, and it's like, okay, so they definitely
I
take
we
some...
could do this and find out. Continue the search for Elrond Sons, but we don't know where to go. Sorry, continue.
I mean, that's all. I was just that's probably the only one that sticks out to me as like this was a great book. Just, I don't know, on its own, I really appreciated it. So I would say that's probably
I am a colossal... I've been thinking so hard, I totally forgot. I was just perusing my Goodreads account because I knew I was forgetting something, and this, hands down, the Kingkiller Chronicles, definitely my favorite fantasy series.
I don't know if I'm familiar with those.
You should be, because I gave you the audiobooks a long time ago, and you just never listened to them.
When was this?
Probably coming up on a year ago now.
Where did you give them to me?
I emailed them to you because a friend of mine. It's a funny story. A friend of mine recommended them to me.
That's dumb. I'll start listening.
And
to
email,
them.
and he gave me. He had the audiobooks and he gave them to me. And I think that's the reason I forgot them. Oh, I remember this boss fight. We got our collective. They glued our butt cheeks together with this one.
Do you mean your butt to my butt or our individual
This one sucked. We probably should have ended before we got here. We'll give it a few cracks and then we'll call it a day because I don't think we're gonna beat it. I remember this boss fight. It was very difficult. But that's absolutely.
Was that in our ignorance though? Because I feel like
no. I think because I remember when we played it again, we thought it was, but that's because that was New Game Plus. I think it's because now we're just gonna have a real bad time of it. Oof. But yeah, definitely. I think that's why I forgot them is because I listened to them as audiobook, which I really almost have never done. That's the only series I listen to as audiobook because I'm not a fan of audiobooks much. It's hard for me to get behind them. But that's definitely it. And I feel ashamed for having forgotten it because those are tremendous books.
Over here.
Oh, well, you got to tell me these things.
I just did. I just put it up.
Oh, well. You said it as if it had been up.
Oh,
well, yeah. It's not going to stop him from running through it.
I didn't expect him to, but I didn't expect him to put his crotch right in my face.
What did you expect the troll to do? They have no tactics. They just rush. I'm drawing aggro. Now, do you not have any remote healing abilities yet?
Not yet.
Because I'm not really going to be able to draw aggro very effectively if you can't heal me on the spot because he's going to wreck me up.
Did that do anything for you?
Maybe do it again. The best I can do is try and dodge him when he does his moves. But if you are unlike me and you're not as poorly disposed to, I did it. Oh, he's not dead. Well, I got a big hit on him though. If you're not as indisposed to audiobooks as I am, oh, he got me in that swipe. Oh, you can't do it while he's there. Eridan's got me. Eridan's got me. Eridan's got me. Are you dead? Oh, you're not. If you don't mind audiobooks, then definitely
I love audiobooks.
I would recommend the British audiobook version because a friend of mine
I actually prefer.
They're on Audible.
Brits.
They're both on Audible because there's the American Audible version and Audible UK has their own UK audiobook. And you just got to go with that one because the guy who does it is great. So as much as I don't love audiobooks, I love that guy. And so that's the reason I got through it is just because it's great. This was not the boss fight we were talking about. The boss fight we were talking about was the horrendous orc guy that comes on later on. So the troll wasn't him.
Oh, yeah. You were thinking of that guy that we had to go up the stairs and it was like...
Although I think that fight might be beginning here in a minute. So yes. I feel silly, but that's definitely my favorite fantasy series. By like
I have to listen to those now because
you do. They're glorious. Oh, well.
You may have to resend those to me.
Well, I will because I still have them. Oh, and how perfect! We've just finished a section. You broke a bunch of stuff apparently. You destructive elf woman. We reached the end of a section. We've covered our topics and we've hit an hour. So hopefully our sucking didn't turn you off this game because it really is a great game and we want to give a little more traction to it.
Yeah.
Because it sort of escaped. Maybe it was a little ahead of its time. If it had come out after the Shadow of Mordor's when these kinds of games were got a little more publicity. Because it's really it's great and it's definitely a fun get together with friends because we've never played this single player. It's probably not nearly as fun when you're relying on all NPCs, but getting together with some friends,
if you had three people would be even better. That would be awesome.
Because then Eridan presumably wouldn't suck so much. But yes, well, there's no need to really pursue this conversation anymore. Let's just stare boggle-eyed at the handsome sons of Elrond.
I thought you were talking about my eyes for a second. I was going to say.
Well, we could stare boggle-eyed at my glorious Bushmaster's beard.